So before we talked about those two kinds of decisions that that we have, where there's the decisions that categorize or that are regression, and then those action to outcome decisions. Well, when we go to action and outcome decisions, those other kinds of decisions, we don't throw those away. Instead, they become part of the action to outcome choice. So remember earlier, I gave the example of, let's say we had a really great machine learning predictor of the value of some security that you're thinking of investing in, right? So if you have the prediction that that security is going to have a high value, that doesn't get you all the way, right? Because there also might be a cost of investment. There might be some other factors involved in investing in that company. And so the choice to take the action to make the investment sort of surrounds that prediction. And this is the pattern that we see. Decision intelligence uses AI predictions and AI classifications as components, and then combines multiple AI systems, sort of orchestrates them together in order to connect them to business outcomes and then back to actions.
Perfect. And I would like to jump in just real quick. We do have a question from one of the audience that I want to jump in really quick. And they want to ask, how does the DA help if the client is not sure about what the next step is?
Well, DI gives you a really nice sort of cookbook. First do this, then do that. And I'll give you a preview. We're going to say this later, but throw the technology out of the room for a minute. Just ask the client, what business outcomes do you think this system will achieve? And what I've found is every time I get in a room with a workshop with a client, there are as many business outcomes as there are people in the room. Like one wants EBITDA, net of OPEX after 12 months. Another wants EBITDA net of CapEx plus OPEX after 24 months. And so the first step is just, let's make sure we're all on the same page as to how we're going to measure success and what that outcome is. So that's step one, and we'll save all the other steps for later in the presentation. But that's an absolutely excellent question. But you can do this today, right? Go home, go to work, ask somebody who's facing an important decision. Just start by aligning around what you're trying to achieve. You would be amazed. We just assume we're all on the same page, and we're not. We're off, especially in complex, fast-changing, volatile business environments. You'll be surprised to learn you assume everybody's on the same page, but you're not. So everybody's pulling in different directions.
Good. I think one way to understand decision intelligence is to contrast it with recent digital transformation initiatives. Over the last 2 decades, we have gotten a lot better at generating, collecting data, storing it in the cloud, accessing it on any device, and in some cases, visualizing it to some extent. But these systems, some of them refer to as systems of record and systems of engagement, then expect people to make sense, decide and act on that data, which could be overwhelming as the data continues to grow exponentially. So the DI, or we call like a new systems of intelligence, are focused on making decisions that lead to actions, as we define. DI can augment people to make sense of the data so they can make better decisions or automate it. So if we look at, like, say, any of us, if we think about it, like if you have access to all the knowledge, required knowledge, if we could even predict the outcomes better, and then you have all the tools set to automate it, obviously we will all make better decisions. I think that's where AI can come in and help us, is that we could have easy access to knowledge from all the people or from across the board. It can also help predict the outcomes, even though with the probability on if we make certain choice, what could the outcome be? So it can be the outcomes can be evaluated more independently. And then if they could be automated, not only that there is a decision made, those actions can be executed, then you will realize the value of that decision quickly. So I think the AI can add value at each of these stages, make all of us like a better decision makers.
Yeah, and let me just double down on that. There's really 2 benefits, right? Efficiency and effectiveness, right? So we can do things faster, but we can also do things better.